All right, what's going on, YouTube? This is gonna be a new style of vlog that we're gonna try out for a little bit here. We've heard you. We know people are hoping or looking for the vlogs to come back, and they will in the way that they have before, but I don't think that'll be the way that we do them until I start getting closer to prepping for nationals. But for those who are interested, I wanted to try to provide a little bit of me going through my own training. It's kind of like not a form check Friday on my own lifts, but a similar format, a little bit more raw. I'm going to go through some of my training footage. I'm going to talk to whoever's interested about it, and give everybody a little bit of a sort of what's up, what's been going on, how's the recovery from the injuries and all that kind of stuff. So this will be, I don't know, probably 4 to 6 weeks or so. And then I think we will be kind of diving into nationals training. So at that point, we might return to the, more high production, more time consuming videos. But for now, given, some of the other projects we're trying to work on in terms of our YouTube videos, I think this just makes the most sense to get something out there for a vlog. And, for those who want to follow along with my training, I've been getting asked a lot how recovery is coming, how the rehab from my injuries is coming, and wanted to I guess provide a place to chat about that and to give everybody a little bit of an update. So for those who might not know, I've been dealing with some hip injury issues, some chronic pain in my hip for a long time now, since about 2016. So 8 years at this point, on and off, sometimes more limiting than others. And from about May of this year until maybe a month or two ago, I had been dealing with some pretty bad knee issues that actually kind of stopped me in my tracks and prevented me from being able to squat or deadlift at all. And that was really rough. That was a really crappy time. Mentally, I didn't handle it well. Not that I think I could have handled it better, but it sucked. I didn't like it. I didn't feel like myself. Not being able to do the lifts at all was terrible. So I'm back to a point where I'm kind of excited about my training. I'm feeling a lot better about my training. So hopefully y'all are interested in following along. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of, get into it here a little bit and go through the last little bit of training. This vlog will have maybe a little bit more footage than some, because I have a little bit more than just the 1 week, whereas from here on out, we'll have just 1 week to look at. So yeah, I've been sort of rehabbing my lower body. You'll see, I'll go through some of the more obscure movements that I've been doing just to try to get more stress on my hips and my back and my knees and all that kind of stuff, and talk through some of the rehab strategy that I've been doing with Seth. Mike T has still been doing my bench programming, and Seth has been doing, Dr. Seth Albersworth has been doing my my lower body programming and my sort of rehab training. So with that being said, we'll start off with this was the 17th of this month, and I basically went through and did, I think, about 5 singles on this day. So nothing crazy, but this is about where my bench is at for singles, at 7 right now, which feels damn good. My singles at 7, I think I did 5 this day with 185 kilos. And I mean, that feels pretty damn good to be using that kind of weight for those, nice, easy RPE sets. This was when I was in Portland, and I had just gotten my throat tattooed. You can see there. So I wasn't able to actually front squat. And front squats have been one of the ways that I've been reintroducing some stress on my knees, and my lower body specifically. But this gym that I went to did have a transformer bar. So I used the transformer bar, put it in the front squat setting, and we did a set of 12. So this is the closest thing to a back squat I've done in a long time. It felt, tough, but it also felt really good. It felt good to put a weight on my back. I'm going beltless here, partly because packing my belt in my carry-on is a real pain in the ass. But yeah, I was able to kind of jam through it. Felt good. Didn't get any hip or knee pain. It didn't flare anything up. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. The rest of my bench variations have been going super well. This is 162 here. with, little pauses on there. This is my close grip. Now, those of the uninitiated might not think that's very close grip, but it's about 2 fingers closer than my comp grip. And I managed to set a 6 with 162.5 there. So again, pretty damn happy with the progress across the board with bench. It feels like with my bench, I just kind of can't get enough weight on the bar right now, which is pretty cool. This was another one of the rehab movements I've been doing. This is a double pause deadlift. And basically this spot right off the floor here, that's where I was getting a lot of my knee pain, a lot of my knee issues previously. So we're pausing there twice. Obviously the load's really light. This is 205 kilos. But this allowed me to kind of really expose myself to that crappiest part of the range of motion and use that as kind of a litmus test for like, okay, we can add load when the worst part feels better. You know what I mean? So that movement progressed up until that point, and then we actually swapped it out. But this is maybe my least favorite movement that I've done in the gym in a long time. I opted to do these standing, and that wasn't necessarily part of the program, but I knew that they were awkward and that I didn't like them standing. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do something that I'm terrible at, because obviously that leaves a lot of room for improvement. So been pushing these. That's what, 29 kilos, which is I think 65 or 70 pounds or so. And banged out, I don't know, a set of 8 there or something. But just that like lean back and extension, and I don't know, it's not my favorite movement ever, but it's one of those movements that's like, I don't know, it feels okay on my shoulders, which is good. I've been doing a lot of trying to keep my shoulders in check. Given that, bench is kind of the only thing I can push right now, I want to be able to push it. You know what I mean? I don't want to go too hard. I don't want to do something wrong and end up back in a place where I'm not able to push like any of my lifts right now. Goblet squats are getting there. That's 40 kilos. So I think 85 or 90 pounds. Sets of 12 there. Again, nothing crazy or too exciting there. This was some single leg landmine RDLs, and these are freaking rough. They are not my favorite movement. I think I'm on the wrong side of the bar for what Seth wants. He wanted this foot down and this hand on the bar if the bar was on this side, but close enough. I'm getting basically the same thing done, but there's some additional rotational stuff that he wants incorporated in there. So, these are pretty straightforward, but again, just kind of like trying to go through that hinge pattern, specifically getting some exposure on that hip of mine that seems to not want to cooperate after a certain point. So this is getting into a lot more recently. This was Saturday, 3 days ago. We had some lifters from Austria and Germany who are, I think, living on the West Coast, who came by to hang out and to train and to, get some work in. I realized I didn't trim that clip, sorry. But this is 160 with these mini bands, which probably add another, 15 to 20 kilos total at the top. So somewhere in the neighborhood of like 180 for a nice solid triple here. A little bit of pause on these as well. And yeah, like I said, bench is one of those things where it just seems like I can kind of do basically whatever I want at this point. I'm projecting really, really well on my overall sort of like comp bench singles. Excuse me. And that feels really good. The other big, main deadlift movement variation, whatever you want to call it, that I'm doing right now is some block pulls. So I've got a plate underneath and then these 2 blocks. It adds up to about 4 inches. And on this day I did 3 sets of 5 with 260. So, it doesn't even register on the RPE scale, but again, because the problematic range of motion for me was right off the floor, we've got the double pause, which is going to really tackle that. And we've got this, which I can load a little bit better, which kind of goes around that. So even from the start, block pulls have been something that don't really bother my knee at all. So it's been good to have those as something I can kind of, actually go in and push a little bit and put a little bit of work into. This was the same day, some feet up or Larson close grip. Not sure if it's close grip or comp grip, but again, I think a set of 6 here with 160, and this was supposed to be a 9 RPE. Again, it's just not like I can go in and just kind of add weight every week. My bench is going crazy right now. So I do think there's definitely, there's something to be said for not having that lower body stress, for not having the additional recovery demand of, really taxing my lower body. So these front foot elevated split squats here, normally I do these like over here or in this rack here, and I have a band that kind of goes like under my arms and around my chest to basically do reverse band body weight, because that's how sensitive my knee was to loading. But I've gotten to the point now where I can put a 25 pound, not 25 kilo, 25 pound kettlebell in my hand and do these. And this is my left leg. This is my knee that was problematic before. I'm trying to be very conscious of my language and not say my bad knee. There's a little tip for anybody, but yeah, good full range of motion. I got all 4 of the mats stacked up there, plus it's on top of the platform. So really trying to get a lot of range of motion out of that knee. And it seems fine. Didn't have any flare-ups after this day. I think I maybe only did 6 reps per side here for a few sets, but just being able to do anything like this is pretty promising for right now. So I think, as of this moment, as I record this, we're reintegrating some high bar squats, which I'm excited about. And then we've moved the front to, I'm not even sure, something else. But we have a couple more like squat-like variations where I can actually put some load on there. This is like a hinged kettlebell rotation, he called it. So I'm trying to maintain like as good a back position as I can. Obviously here you can see it looks a little bit flexed, but I'm not too worried about it, right? The point here is I'm getting a bunch of rotation in my hips and a bunch of rotation in my trunk, and kind of where they meet up. I was doing these in Portland, and a friend of mine was like, are you working on your golf swing there or what? Because you can see my knees and my legs kind of moving around. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where I'm just really trying to get a lot of load tolerance for kind of all of the little muscles. And I don't know, just finding different ways to stress all those little muscles and all the systems in there, because obviously I'm used to training my squat and my deadlift heavy and frequently, and without that stimulus, you kind of got to be a little more creative in how you integrate that stuff. What else? We got some lat pull downs here. This is again like pretty straightforward stuff, but look at that, we're getting pretty close to the whole stack. I really like this neutral grip pull down. I was having some elbow issues in this arm, kind of in my flexors right here in the forearm, where I did like a few sets of bench with no wrist wraps, and it just flared it up, and it took me a long time to get it to calm down. But yeah, that seems to be one of the things that has allowed me to kind of get back into doing some more pulling movements. So trying to do these as strict as I can, relatively heavy. Anybody who remembers following my training a little while back, I was doing really heavy chest supported rows. So I'm kind of trying to take the same approach there. I realized I didn't frame these very well, but again, just more rotational stuff. I'm really trying to like use my hips as much as possible to stabilize, and keep this, my hand and the weight like slightly out away from my gut to get that, that good rotation, and then hold it for like a quick sec. So again, more rotational stuff, more core stuff. Direct core training is not something I've ever really done much of. So yeah, it's interesting to be doing that. Now, one of these, that's the 190. Is this the 195? Yeah, okay. So this was my first, I just did these yesterday. I was doing some singles on bench up to, I was told to surf in the 8 to 9 RPE range. And so I started off with this 195, and I had a little recurrence of that shoulder issue that was bugging me before Worlds. My shoulder just like winged out and was not going to stay in place. I'm not sure if I set up a little weird. I think I might have, but this ended up not being my favorite single. You can see there my shoulder come pretty far out of position. Still moved well, especially for 195. And 195 matches my comp PR, so I can't really complain about that. But my decision after that was to come down and to take 190, because I, even if the RPE was on point, I didn't want to be messing around with potentially having that shoulder thing flare up again. So I was like, I'm not gonna push it. You know, if the shoulder's gonna be a little finicky today, we'll go down to 190. These will be like light 8s, but then I did that and it was just like, oh, okay, well, this is stupid. Like that was a 7, you know. Again, benching 190 to 7, damn happy with. And then what I decided to do was to bench 197.5. So this is 2.5 kilos over my best in comp and 2.5 kilos under my best in the gym. So my best bench is 200. I think at this point we're probably looking at like maybe 210. But like that moved really well. I'd say probably like 8.5 or so. And I had a few people, I posted this on Instagram. Somebody's like, oh man, that looked like a 6.5. And it's like, well, I disagree. You know, my bench is one of those things that is very quick until it isn't. You know, I've had my bench now for over a decade. I know how it works. And you know, the bar speed there is a little deceptive, I think. And even still, one of the things that I think has gone really well for me over the last little while is that I've really not leaned into pushing the bench super hard. Now, I mentioned the bench has been really successful and it's been going super well, but I haven't actually been pushing it that hard. You know, I've been trying to go in with the mindset of how do I get a weight on the bar that's going to give me a really good stimulus on the day? What's going to give me a really like good training session? And that's more how I've been trying to make my decisions as opposed to, you know, what's going to give me the best projection? What's going to like, you know, be the biggest weight I can get on the bar? And it's funny. Dylan's been giving me a lot of shit for, you know, sandbagging with my bench. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't, you know, I took 197 yesterday and him and other people were like, why, how the hell did you not take 200? And it's like, well, because next time I might be able to take just 202 and do multiple singles there. So yeah, I don't know, just trying to play the long game, keep myself in one piece. Like, you know, if I can go out to Nats and bench like 207, 210 and maybe 215 by Worlds, I'm going to be in a really, really happy camper. Yesterday was able to introduce pause deadlifts from the floor. Very excited about that. Very, very happy to be able to do these from the floor. So wasn't really sure what kind of weight I was going to be able to use. Ended up getting up to, this is 220. I mean, again, doesn't even register on the RPE scale, but you know, it's one of those things where I'm trying not to be too much of a meathead, but ended up getting up to 240 for a pretty good quality single. I accidentally pulled it off the floor while I was trying to brace against the bar. I don't know how well you can see it here, but it started coming off the floor as I was pulling into tension, and I was like, oh, well, I guess we're pausing now. So again, didn't really register on the RPE scale. Maybe felt like a 0.5 out of 10 on the knee. So that to me was like, okay, well, good enough. You know, we'll call it there. And these are by far the most challenging movement in my program right now. A step up. And it's not a big step up. You know, it's maybe 4.5 inches. But this is the movement where if I do these, if I progress that range of motion a little bit, I will, you know, end up with some knee pain. My knee will react to these. So it's one of the things that I'm progressing the slowest, but I think it's also a really good indicator of how things overall are progressing. And overall, I think things are progressing pretty damn well. So that is, that's our day. That's our vlog. I hope that anybody watching enjoyed that format. It's a little more raw. It's a little more just kind of me talking about my training. And, you know, once we get into more things, I can pick apart a little more of my decision making, you know, how I was feeling going into each day and try to, you know, build a little bit more of a conversation out of it. But yeah, we really hope that you enjoy these. We will be going back to, you know, the high production vlog stuff. We have some other stuff right now in the works that is taking up our sort of high production time budget, and that will all be coming very soon. But you know, we can't do it all the time. So we're trying to find ways where everything fits and we can get good stuff made that people are going to enjoy and you know, learn a lot from, which I think is the other project that we're working on right now. But we're keeping lips tightly sealed on that one. We'll be filming some more Wednesday. A lot of good stuff coming through the through the tubes or whatever. So, okay, we're gonna call it there. I hope everybody watching has a fantastic day, fantastic week. We'll be putting these out weekly. Let us know in the comments below if you like this format, if it works for you. You know, if you have any thoughts or suggestions or whatever, just let me know. All right, we'll call it there. You know, like it if you like it. Hit that subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.